down the hammer and pick up the pencil. You're about to listen to the Savvy Radio Show. Learn from real-life real estate investors, experience revealed with the Savvy Landlord as your host.
What up, Savvy Investors? This is your friend, Steve VanCauwenbergh, the Savvy Landlord, Oklahoma City, but worldwide. Why worldwide? Because you're listening worldwide. There's people all over the country, world, listening to this podcast. I'm honored, and I don't believe it at the same time. But that's what they say when I look up who and where they are downloading this episode. So that may be you. Congratulations for tuning in, because you're smart. Not only that you're smart, but that equals to savvy. And what does it warrant that? Because we want to find properties, pennies on the dollar. And so if you've been following my podcast, I may have lightly talked about ways to find properties. So let me just break off some easy ways to find properties cheaply, pennies on the dollar, little effort. You got to keep your pipeline rolling. I'm gonna break off some here in a second, but the goal is I'm gonna go cover a couple of these. Some of these are gonna jump out at you, and you probably should focus on one or two of them. Don't try to focus on all of them, and you're gonna go nowhere. Okay. Number one, pre-foreclosures, pending foreclosures, and short sales. Now, if you don't know what those things are, basically folks are about to go under. They're going to lose their property, and they don't know how or way to get out. They just think they're going to walk away from it. Well, how do you find those? Well, there's several ways that you can find those. Facebook is a wonderful thing. You can subscribe to some lists, but let's just focus on Facebook, because that's where life is right now. People won't admit it, but they're behind. And you can come across as a specialist. So here's some Facebook marketing for you. Hi, I'm a real estate investor, and I work with pending foreclosures or short sales. If you know anyone, and some people don't even know what a short sale is. So if you're going to market on Facebook, you might want to have a blurb about short sales. Now, what is a short sale? Basically, someone is looking at death, meaning they can't pay their payments. They're going under. They may be going through a divorce. And the bank has been communicating with them. They're like, look, we're done messing with you, deadbeat. We're going to take this back. You're saying, no, I'm going to try to make this work. I've tried to call a realtor or someone else. And what a short sale is someone else, a third party, that could be a realtor or a real estate investor or Joe Blow, calls the bank up and offers a specific amount of money for that property. Now, sometimes, of course, short sales are wonderful. It could be lesser than what the property's actually worth. Now, these greedy bankers, no offense, no disrespect, but I wish they would just be thankful for what they were owed on it, but sometimes they don't like that. So they try to juice up the price. They Google it up or ask for a comps or a broker's opinion per se, and they only owe 80, but the house appraised 7% over the 3 years they've been paying for the house. They bought it for 100, so we're going to ask for 115. I see this all the time. I'm like, bankers, I thought you weren't in the real estate game, but you are trying to maximize and burn these people over. And so what a short sale is that you make an offer on a property, and most times, honestly, banks do lose and they have to recoup their costs somewhere, but you're offering lesser than what they owed on it, and you got to get approval from the bank, a specific department, usually in a big bank, and it takes time. Short sales, 6 months, 9 months to a year and a half, even longer. But if you hang in there, and short sales are winners, it just takes some time. A lot of realtors don't know how to handle a short sale. So if you really want to get into short sales, pennies on the dollar, very inexpensive to mine them. It just takes a lot of tenacity. Yep, let me say it again. Grit to get it done, and working with realtors most time. Why realtors on this situation? Well, bankers try to pad themselves of liability, and they don't like to work directly with an investor usually. That's not all the time, but the bigger, giant Class A billion-dollar banks usually pad some protection between you and them through a realtor, and they're willing to pay that fee, usually a lower fee than a full-on commission, but there's ways to mine those. Well, how do you mine them? Well, real quickly, Facebook, post an ad. Explain people what a short sale is and what it does. It actually could help someone instead of being railroaded by a bank and tearing up their credit. You can do direct marketing towards these people, like offer an educational consultation with them. You can create a flyer. You can email it out. You definitely should create a flyer so if someone does contact you on Facebook, that you can send them some information. And you want to create a credibility kit of sorts where you're like, hi, my name is Joe Blow, investor. I work with banks and folks like you in a position that you're in, and I would love to serve you in whatever magnitude I can. Let me hear your situation and find out maybe how far you are behind. Just start the dialect and the relationship. And what does that really cost you? Nothing. Like I said, pennies on the dollar. Number one, pre-foreclosures, pending foreclosures, or short sales. Now, you can find pending foreclosures on the county, less pendings that something is, going to court. A bank is suing someone for this. But hey, it's possible. It's inexpensive, and you can do it. You're going to run across some kind of crazy things like highest and best, and I've covered that in other podcasts. But, hey, if you're looking for deals right now, that may be an opportunity. You got time on your hands, or you're young and you're a rookie. Hey, start working that angle. Number two, purchasing REOs, a.k.a. bank-owned property, real estate-owned property, okay? The bank owns the real estate. Now, this is not an easy way to do it, but it's possible. What you can do is call banks directly. Small banks work wonderful. How I do this trick is I'll type in a specific bank name. You could go to your county assessor and type in bank and hit enter, or type in Chase and hit enter. Type in New York, enter. Type in People's Bank. Type in specific banks, Citizens Bank in Edmond. Majority of banks don't like foreclosures, okay? But they do have to do them. It's the nature of the beast. That's why they charge you fees. That's why they charge you points. That's why they charge you interest. And they sometimes I have acquired several properties from several different banks through REOs. Now, REOs, I think, are soft right now. Back, when the subprime explosion and the bubble popped and people are dying and they're taking refugees off of real estate houses. I'm just playing. But, REOs were a dime a dozen. I mean, and here's the thing that happens a lot, too. Investors go down. I know it's sad. It breaks my heart to hear a real estate investor go down, for real. Even if I don't like you. You've earned that stripe by acquiring the asset, right? In the beginning, you sacrifice something to come to the table to get something. And however you managed your money, or the deal could have been good or bad, but it's truly sad. And I have empathy for you if you get to that point. And I pray that I never get to that point, but it does happen. And have I gobbled up properties from investors that have gone down? Yes. There's some investors that should have gone down and gone down because of their arrogance. And I covered this a while back, and I just came up in a conversation the other day. There was this real estate investor had like $20 million of assets and is losing them all. And I couldn't figure it out. A year ago, I went and looked at the properties, and they were just way too high. I'm like, this dude is a real estate investor. Does he not get it? And what I realized, some people know how to buy really, really well, and some people don't know how to sell. I think if you want to be a full-blown real estate investor on both sides, you need to learn to sell, and you need to learn to buy and know when to sell and not be emotional about it. And so that's what happened to that one investor. He went under because he was too prideful, maybe greedy. That's what I think. And sometimes you got to take the loss and move on. And that's what an REO is for the bank. The bank loaned the money. They usually don't lose, all right? It's very rare that they do. But if they do lose, they have the ability to write off or charge off that debt. Now, how do you get those VC? That sounds cool, VanCauwenbergh. Well, you got to build relationships with banks. get into the banks, find out, do you guys have any REOs? Learn the language or any foreclosures that are pending. Is there a way, how I weasel in some of these areas? Here's my tricks of the trade. You offer services. Maybe I can find out what the value of the property is. This real estate bank, okay, they're not real estate investors. They don't really know. They operate off of information supplied usually by a broker or a real estate agent, and they operate off of appraisers. Now, are all appraisers created equal? No. Are all broker real estate professionals created equal? Hell no. They're not, right? So you can be the go-between middle person and offer services of, hey, let me look at the property, see if it's bona fide, see if I can help assess the damages or whatever it is. Offer your services in your market and be authentic and be upfront. I'm a real estate investor. I'm looking for deals. I've learned from the Savvy Radio show that, maybe you're busy and you're behind a desk and you don't really want to manage or mess around with real estate. I get it. I understand it, but I can help you in some way. So that's another way. REOs, call big banks up. They have REO divisions. Chase, Manhattan, and Kansas City Bank has or is it Wichita? I'm not sure, but my homie chased down a deal. I mean, this guy was a gangster. He would not stop until he got to the REO department, until he could make an offer and purchase the property through an REO through a bank. Now, some banks offer REOs through the MLS, through realtors. They're out there. They just usually tend not to be good deals. They usually tend to be a bidding war. But you got to be patient. You got to know the numbers. But there's deals out there, and what does that really cost you to do it? Now, another easy, free way is to show up at auctions. And so as I'm talking to you, I'm going to put you on pause, and I'm going to look up an auction. All right, so I found an auction here in Oklahoma City that I've actually bought several properties from. There is an auction going down on June 29th. They have a commercial property to be sold, and they have a Northwest property to be sold. They got raw land to be sold in Canadian County. And then, boom, here is a deal right here. Oklahoma City, 2123 West Park Place. Wow. Sold absolutely. This is a 1,300 square foot duplex. Each unit approximately 686 square foot, 1 bedroom, 1 bath. 2014 new roof, new tile, blank, blank, blah, blah, blank, new shower, blank, blank. Currently rented at $400 a unit. Left unit rents for $450. Is vacant. So left side is vacant. We rented for $450 before. There's an $850 potential gross asset at an auction. What does that cost you? I just gave you the lead. I used to be real gangster all over. I think I've purchased about 5 or 6 or 7 properties over my little short career of real estate investing through online auctions and on location auctions. Now, the sad thing is I know this location, I know this property, and I'm going to be out of town that day. So some other great guy or gal is about to lock up an asset. Now, not all auctions are created equal. So there's a buyer's premium that you need to be aware of. What's that, VC? That means that's an extra fee. So if you buy it for $50,000 plus the buyer's premium, that's you, the buyer, you're going to pay 10% more. 50,000, 10%, that's 5 G's, that's 55. Now, I've stopped going to auctions for about 3 to 4 years now because they're just getting super inflated. Now, I'm assuming a lot of real investors stopped going, but I've totally forgot until I did this podcast that there is real estate auctions out there. So find the auction, and just so if you ask, I don't know if I said this to you, but you can go to dakil.com, DAKIL.com, and that's a really good auction house, and I've purchased over 5 properties there. So online auction, you can use auction.com, Hubzu. There's all kinds of auctions, foreclosure auctions. Doesn't cost you any money to do that. Another option for you for little money is hunting down motivated sellers, distressed people. Now, a lot of people use bandit signs. I was talking to a real estate investor last night. He's like, man, they're not working. I think I've gotten one deal is what he said in a couple of years. I will be waiting for an opportunity to drop bandit signs right now. I'm just kind of seeing what the market does. But that's an easy way to do it. Another way to find motivated sellers are through bird dogs. I just locked up a property. If you heard that episode a couple episodes ago, part 1 and part 2, how I locked up this house through an investor that randomly called my property management company, and I purchased that property. That's a bird dog. I'm going to give that girl some cash. She's going to be happy, and she's going to be thinking about the savvy, and hopefully she'll bring me other deals. And that leads me to another frustrating thing. So I'm outside today watering the plants because we got money in the plants in the front of the commercial building, which is extremely expensive. And this worker rolls up to me. I'm out here, he's kind of making fun of me. I'm out here watering the grass. Aren't you some CEO? This is kind of what he didn't say it that exactly. That's how I received it. Hey, I'm out here making money and you're out here watering the grass. This mother said that to me. I almost fell off the freaking ledge. And I just was like pissed. I said, making money for me, homie, is finding me a deal. Bringing me a house makes us money. You mounting up a hose on the side of the building doesn't make us any money. So what you need to do is get bird dogs rolling. I mean, get 100 bird dogs. I'm actually working on a podcast coming up, how to cultivate bird dogs, how to create a bird dog program. My boy down in Houston, Charles Wynn, is the bird dog freaking connoisseur. I don't know how many bird dogs that dude has, but he has bird dogs working like 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, grinding out deals for you. So hunt down motivated sellers. You could use Facebook. You could do bandit signs. You can do direct mail, pretty cheap. You can just call around, make a business card, do something, but you can find motivated sellers. And here is the final, wholesalers. Yes, I talk a lot about wholesalers. I tease wholesalers, but wholesalers do a great service for real estate investors. The one thing that I just love about the wholesalers that I respect tremendously is that they have the innate ability, the real deal ones, to negotiate. And I mean, it's amazing. Just like that deal I just talked about last Friday, I bought it for $38.5. I would have bought it for $35. This dude locked it up at $32. I'm like, man, maybe I should be a wholesaler and keep these mugs. $32. And I think what happens is with a wholesaler, they got nothing to lose. They just making offers, and I guess, and just seeing what sticks, or they have a better skill of negotiating or a presentation that just gets people hot and bothered. But whatever it is, you need to have relationships with every wholesaler in your market like nobody's business. They need to have your name on their speed dial for real. If you look at my phone right now, I have a speed dial list of wholesalers, and I try to call them and build a relationship with them, genuinely have events like pop-up social and provide Christmas cards and just say, hey, I'm not going to be that other investor that just sweats you all the time. You got me a deal. Hey, you got any deals? I got $1 million in cash. I need a deal. Someone told me the other day, a realtor calls me up and says, or texts me and says, I got a real estate investor sitting on a pile of cash and he's looking for deals. I'm like, bro, I'm looking for deals. What about your homie? And I realized that people forget where they came from. Ooh, I know that stung you, wholesaler. Or I know you got convicted, homie realtor. I'm not trying to be a DI something, but what I'm trying to tell you is cultivate relationships with people and be authentic, okay? And vice versa, wholesaler. One day you're going to call a real estate investor and you're going to need funds to close the deal. Business should go around and it should help everybody. Hey, I'm not mad that you're selling it to somebody else, but I am kind of frustrated that you forgot about your boy. Remember where you came from And life is good when you share it. Now, if you assume that real estate investor will only pay a certain amount of money, you lost your wits. The thing is, I actually, sometimes I pay low, sometimes I pay high. I'm very clear of what I'm looking for. But the point of the whole deal is this. Wholesalers can be wonderful people. Here's the problem with wholesalers, is so you know, they come and go quickly because there's a low barrier of entry. They may not be so savvy, educated-wise about analyzing numbers. So you just got to be patient with a new wholesaler. A really good wholesaler knows that he must leave money on the bone, profit on the bone. So he knows the equation where the real estate investor is going to jump for joy at 70 to 75%, maybe all in. And you as a real estate wholesaler, investor, purchaser, buyer, whatever, should try to mine deals around 50 or 60. And there's no rule of thumb, ladies and gentlemen. I got a question one time. What's a good rule of thumb to pay an assignment fee? Listen, I never get mad. I love the weak real estate investors out there that get juicy because some dude made 10 G's on them. Or they made a $50,000 on them on an assignment fee. Hey, if it's a deal, it's a deal. I'm not mad that I bought that deal for $32,000. Dude locked it up for $38,000. Sold it to me for $38,500. But the appraisal came in at 60 something and it was a no money down deal. Am I mad? No, my family, we're going to eat another month because of some other real estate investor dropped a bunch of postcards, got a bunch of calls, worked out a deal, brought me a contract. He made 6 G's. I made an asset for the rest of my life. The bank got their money. They got their origination fee. They got a secure asset. They're going to make money every month. They're arbitraging. It's a great thing to be in real estate. So that's it, party people. There is ways to find deals with pennies on the dollar. My name is Steven VanCauwenbergh. You probably won't like me anymore. All my wholesalers are probably hating me now, but it's okay. It comes around, man. Be cool and grow in the business and ultimately do the very best you can do. But no, the ultimate thing you should do is what? I haven't said in a long time. Buy assets.
Thanks for listening to the Savvy Radio Show. Glide online and listen to our other motivating episodes at savvyradioshow.com. Connect on Twitter at LandlordBook and always be buying assets.